Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. Part 1. Dr. Henry Jekyll is a famous doctor in London. Many people love and honor him. Dr. Jekyll wants to write his will, so one day he calls Mr. Utterson, his lawyer and best friend. The meeting seems unimportant, but it is really the beginning of a very strange story.
Utterson, I want to write a new will.
Very well, Henry. What should the document say?
If I die, I want to leave all my possessions to my friend, Edward Hyde. If I disappear, or if I am absent and no one can find me for 3 months or more, Mr. Hyde will get everything.
Utterson is very surprised.
Why? Who is this Edward Hyde?
Please, don't ask me any questions. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Very well, Henry. The document will be ready for your signature tomorrow.
Utterson leaves Jekyll's house. He is very worried and confused about his friend's strange will. A few days later, Utterson is walking with his friend Richard Enfield. On a busy corner, Enfield shows Utterson the door of a house.
Do you see that door, Utterson?
What about it?
It reminds me of a very strange story.
Really? What is it?
This is Mr. Enfield's story.
I was going home one evening. Suddenly, I saw a little man. He was walking slowly. A little girl was running toward him. At the corner, they ran into each other. The man was very angry. He stepped on the little girl. He left the child on the ground. She was crying, but the man walked away calmly. I went after the man and caught him. You are a terrible man, and you'll pay for this. You almost killed that child. The man looked so terrible that the people in the street hated him and wanted to kill him. Stand back, please. Stay calm. The child's family can sue you for this. That will not be necessary. I will pay them. I'm sure we can agree on a price. The man talked with the child's mother. Finally, he agreed to pay her £100. Come with me, and I will give you the money. He took them to that building over there. He put his key in the door and entered. A few minutes later, you have £10 here, and a cheque for the rest of the money. I read the signature on the cheque. I knew that person.
A cheque for £90? I'm sure it's a forgery.
No, it's real. I'll show you. I'll take you to the bank in the morning and cash it. The next morning, I cashed the cheque and gave the money to the child's mother.
Utterson listens carefully and thinks about the story. Then he says,
That is a very strange story. What was the name of the man?
His name was Edward Hyde.
Edward Hyde. But that is the name of a man in Dr. Jekyll's will. What did Mr. Hyde look like?
He was short and horrible. I really hated the man.
I don't understand. Why is this man important to Dr. Jekyll? I must find out.
After that time, Utterson goes back to the same door again and again.
This man Hyde has to come back sometime. I will find him.
One night, Utterson is watching the house.
I'm sure that's Hyde. I recognize him from Enfield's description.
Hyde goes to the house and takes a key from his pocket. Utterson stops him.
Mr. Hyde, I believe.
That is my name. What do you want?
I'm an old friend of Dr. Jekyll. May I come in?
Dr. Jekyll is not here now. How did you know me?
Utterson does not answer his question.
Will you do something for me?
Of course. What is it?
Will you show me your face?
Hyde thinks for a moment. Then he turns around quickly.
Now I will know you if we meet again.
But tell me, why are you interested in me?
Dr. Jekyll told me about you.
Angrily, Hyde cries out. He never told you? That is a lie. Hyde enters the house and locks the door. Utterson walks around the corner and knocks on the front door of the same house. The butler opens the door for him.
Is Dr. Jekyll at home, Poole?
Come in, sir, and I'll see. A few minutes later. I'm sorry, sir, but Dr. Jekyll is not here.
Poole, I think I saw a man. His name is Mr. Hyde, I believe. He was entering the house through the side door. Does he usually do this?
Yes, sir. He has a key.
It seems that your master trusts that man very much.
Yes, Mr. Utterson. Dr. Jekyll gave us orders. We must obey Mr. Hyde. A few days later, Utterson has dinner in Dr. Jekyll's home. After dinner, they talk.
Henry, I want to talk to you about your will.
My poor Utterson, I am a difficult client. You seem very upset about my will.
I think you should know. I am finding out things about Mr. Hyde.
Jekyll is upset at this news. I don't want to hear anything more about it.
I heard some horrible things about this man.
I don't care, Utterson. I have a very great interest in this man. He told me that you saw him, and I think he was rude to you. I cannot tell you any more, but you must promise me that he will get my possessions if I die or disappear. That is the end of part 1. Part 2. Utterson promises and leaves the house. A short time later, Dr. Jekyll goes into his laboratory. He mixes a solution from the chemicals. Then he looks at the glass in the light. His face glows with excitement. Then he drinks the strange mixture. In a moment, he is shaking. His face twists and changes. His body slowly shrinks. His clothes hang loosely on his body. Hairy pores come out from his shirt. In a few moments, he changes completely. Henry Jekyll, the famous and honored doctor, is Edward Hyde. Now I am free again. Free of that good old doctor. Henry Jekyll is afraid of life, but I, Edward Hyde, will enjoy life again. Hyde changes his clothes and goes out secretly into the night. Dr. Jekyll is a good doctor during the day, but at night he is Mr. Hyde. He walks the bad parts of London. He commits terrible crimes. Then he goes back home and enters the house through the back door. He mixes another chemical solution. He drinks it. Then he changes his clothes and becomes the good doctor again. No one knows about this double personality of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But then, almost a year later, something happens. One night, a servant in a house is sitting at her window. She sees two men. They are walking toward each other. She recognizes the little man because he sometimes visited her master. It is Mr. Hyde. The two men meet. The other man is polite and speaks quietly to Mr. Hyde. Hyde does not control his anger. He hits the old gentleman with his walking stick. He falls to the ground. Hyde is like an animal. He steps on the poor man. Then he hits him again and again with his stick. He leaves the dead body on the ground and disappears into the shadows. The servant is horrified. She cries out. Later, she calls the police. Can you give a description of this man?
I know him, officer. His name is Hyde. He once visited my master.
There was a broken stick next to the body. The policeman took it.
I think this is the murder weapon, or part of it. I think the murderer has the other part of this walking stick.
They quickly looked through the pockets of the dead man, and here is a letter. It's for a Mr. Utterson. Maybe he knows about this. The next morning, we found this letter on the body of a dead man. It has your name on it.
Oh, my God. How did this happen?
The officer tells him about the crime.
Please, come and look at the body, Mr. Utterson.
They go to the police station.
Do you know the dead man, sir?
I can't say anything now. I have to see the body.
At the station, Utterson goes to a room and looks at the body.
Yes, I was afraid of this. This man is Sir Danvers Carew.
Sir Danvers? Well then, this murder is very important. Maybe you can help us. We found this broken stick next to the body, sir.
I gave a walking stick to Dr. Jekyll on his birthday. This looks like that stick. You say this man is short?
Yes, he is very small, and he looks evil. The servant says his name is Mr. Hyde.
Please come with me. I think I can take you to his house.
Mr. Utterson knew about a house in a poor part of London. Dr. Jekyll bought the house for Mr. Hyde a few months before. Utterson takes the policeman there. They stop in front of a poor old house on a bad street. Here lives Edward Hyde. Utterson is thinking about the £250,000 in Jekyll's will. An old woman opens the door.
Is Edward Hyde at home?
No, sir, he's not. He was here very late last night, but he left very quickly, sir.
I'm afraid I must see his room.
You can't come in, sir. My master will be very angry.
But I'm here with the police.
The woman is suddenly very happy.
Ah, he's in trouble. What did he do?
It seems that nobody likes Mr. Hyde. And now, my good woman, this gentleman and I are going to look around. The woman takes them to a room. It has expensive furniture, but is very messy. It seems that Mr. Hyde left very quickly. He was in a hurry. What's this? A checkbook? Why did he burn his checkbook? Here's the other half of the murder weapon. We have our man now, sir. He probably left his stick because he was upset and wasn't thinking. We can wait for him at the bank. They go to the bank. There are thousands of pounds in the murderer's bank account. But they don't find Hyde. Late that afternoon, Utterson goes to Dr. Jekyll's house.
Come in, sir.
Poole takes Utterson to Dr. Jekyll's laboratory. Dr. Jekyll is sitting in front of the fire. He looks very sick.
Oh, Utterson. Come in. Come in. Poole, please leave us alone.
And now, Henry, do you know the news about Sir Carew's murder?
The doctor is shaking.
Yes, I heard it from my house.
I have to say something to you. You are my client, but Carew was my client too. I am looking for this man Hyde. I really hope you aren't hiding him, Henry.
Utterson, I swear to God that I will never see him again. I promise. It is over. It is the end. He doesn't want my help. You don't know him, but I do. He is safe. He's very safe. I promise no one will hear of him again.
You seem very sure. I hope you're right. If there is a trial, It will be bad for your name.
I have a letter from Hyde here. I don't want to show it to the police. I'll give it to you, Utterson, because I trust you very much.
You are afraid, of course, that the police can find Mr. Hyde through this letter.
No, I don't care about Mr. Hyde anymore. I am thinking about myself. I'm afraid that this crime will bring shame to me.
Utterson is surprised at his friend's words, but he is happy about them.
My dear Dr. Jekyll, you were very good to me, but I am a very bad man. You must not worry about me anymore. I can escape. I am safe. I am sure of it. Edward Hyde.
I like this letter. The friendship between these two men doesn't seem bad. Do you have the envelope from the letter?
No, I burned it. I wasn't thinking. It didn't have a postmark because a messenger brought it.
And now, one more question. Did Hyde force you? Did you write about your disappearance in your will because of him?
The doctor suddenly feels dizzy. He quietly says yes.
I knew it. He wanted to murder you. You're very lucky. You're still alive.
There is something much more important. This was a lesson for me.
On his way out, Utterson talks to Poole.
A messenger gave Dr. Jekyll a letter today, Poole. Can you tell me about him?
There was no messenger here today.
The lawyer walks away. He doesn't understand the mystery of the letter. He feels afraid.
Special edition! Read all about the horrible murder of Sir Danvers Carew! I hope this terrible crime won't bring shame to the good name of Jekyll.
About an hour later, Utterson is at his home with his clerk, Mr. Guest.
You know, Guest, this is a sad business about Sir Danvers.
Yes, sir. Very sad.
What do you think about this letter? It's a document in Hyde's handwriting. It has a murderer's signature.
Mr. Guest knows about handwriting. He looks at the document carefully.
It is a strange handwriting.
Yes, and I think a very strange writer.
Just then, the butler enters with a message. Mr. Guest sees the handwriting.
Is this from Dr. Jekyll, sir? I thought I recognized the handwriting. Is it anything important?
No, it is only an invitation to dinner. Here, you can look at it.
Guest puts the two papers next to each other. He compares them carefully.
Thank you, sir. It's a very interesting signature.
There is silence. Utterson is thinking. He is afraid, confused. Then,
Why did you compare the two notes, Guest?
Well, sir, they are similar. The two handwritings are the same in many ways. It seems very strange.
Don't tell anyone about these notes. You understand?
I understand, sir.
the clerk leaves. Utterson hides the note in a safe place.
Did Henry Jekyll forge a message for a murderer? It's like a bad dream.
That is the end of part 2.